Before this story begins, I want you to hear something uncomfortable. Your money habits are not controlled by your logic. They're controlled by your hidden emotional triggers. If you save too much, if you spend too fast, if you buy things you don't need, if money slips through your fingers despite your best intentions, it's not because you're bad with money. It's because your mind learned a money pattern long before you ever earned your first rupee or dollar. This is the story of a man who discovered this truth the hard way, and how understanding it changed not just his finances, but his entire life. His name was Evan, and like millions of people, he was not struggling because he lacked income. He was struggling because he lacked awareness of the psychology controlling him. Evan worked a decent corporate job. Salary came in on the 1st of every month, and somehow, by the 20th, his bank account felt like a desert. He wasn't irresponsible. He didn't party, gamble, or overspend on luxury, but he had habits he couldn't explain. He bought things impulsively when stressed. He gifted people expensive items even when unnecessary. He avoided checking his bank balance. He had no savings, and every month, he told himself the same lie: I'll fix it next month. But next month always looked like the last. One afternoon, Evan's card got declined while buying a simple coffee. The embarrassment hit him like a punch. That moment became the beginning of a truth he had been avoiding for years. Later that evening, Evan met his friend Sarah, a behavioral finance consultant. She looked at him and said bluntly, "You don't have a money problem. You have an emotional trigger problem." Evan frowned. "What does emotion have to do with money?" "Everything," she said. "People don't spend because of items. They spend because of feelings." Evan stayed quiet. Sarah continued, "There is a dark psychology behind your money habits, and until you understand it, your income will never matter." Her words stung, but something inside him knew she was right. Sarah asked Evan a simple question. "What do you feel right before you spend impulsively?" He hesitated. Then he admitted, "Stress, pressure, sometimes loneliness." Sarah nodded. "That's comfort spending. Your mind uses buying as emotional anesthesia, a temporary escape from uncomfortable feelings." Evan felt exposed. He remembered the times he bought unnecessary gadgets on bad days. The times he ordered food he didn't need. The times he filled emotional gaps with material things. He whispered, "So I'm not buying items, I'm buying relief." Sarah smiled slightly. "That's the psychology you never saw." "Next," she asked, "why don't you check your bank balance?" Evan sighed. "It makes me anxious. I'm scared to see the number." Sarah leaned in. "That's avoidance spending. When money scares people, they avoid looking at it. And what we avoid controls us." Evan felt a heavy truth settling in. His financial life wasn't collapsing because he spent recklessly. It was collapsing because he avoided responsibility out of fear. Sarah asked him one final question. "What did money look like in your childhood?" Evan paused. His mind drifted back to being a small boy, watching arguments at home, hearing lines like, "We don't have enough. Money runs away. Don't ask for anything extra." Sarah watched his silence. She said softly, "That's your real trigger. You learn that money equals fear. So even now, as an adult, every financial decision is driven by that fear." Evan closed his eyes. He finally saw it. He wasn't mismanaging money. His past was mismanaging him. Sarah taught him something simple yet powerful. Money doesn't respond to emotion. It responds to awareness. She asked him to do 3 things. 1. Track one thing daily. Not everything, just one habit, to build awareness slowly. 2. Pause 5 seconds before every purchase. Just 5 seconds to interrupt emotional buying. 3. Name the emotion before you spend I'm stressed. I'm bored. I'm anxious. Naming removed the trigger's power. For the first time in his life, Evan didn't feel ashamed. He felt in control. Within a month, he stopped impulsive late-night purchases. He saved $5,000 without trying. He checked his balance without fear. He bought things he needed, not things his stress demanded. The biggest change wasn't in his wallet, it was in his mind. He understood that money habits are not solved by discipline. They're solved by awareness. Your bank account doesn't reflect your salary. It reflects your psychology. 2 months later, Evan sat in a quiet cafe, reviewing his expenses. For the first time, his numbers didn't make him anxious. They made him proud. Sarah joined him and smiled. "You look different." "I feel different," he replied. "I no longer spend to escape my feelings. I no longer avoid my responsibilities. I no longer fear money." Sarah said, "You finally learned the truth. Money isn't about math. It's about emotion. And when emotion stops controlling you, money stops running from you." Evan closed his notebook softly. For the first time, he felt financially alive. What this story teaches you: your money habits are not your fault. They are the result of old emotional triggers, childhood conditioning, fear of facing reality, stress, responses, avoidance patterns. If you change those triggers, you change your financial life. Money begins to grow the moment you stop using it to numb, escape, impress, or avoid. Because true financial freedom is not earned in the bank account, it is earned in the mind. If this story opened your eyes, do like, share, and subscribe to Tales Beyond Theory. And remember, before you spend your money, pause and check which trigger is actually spending it.